Hello and welcome to
Dusty VCR!
The podcast where we rewatch old movies from our childhood and decide whether they still hold up. I'm your host, Michael Lynch, and I'm joined by my co-host and sister, Rachel Lynch. Rachel, how are you?
I'm good. I'm still floating from my first party of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I had my first...
I attended that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember you.
Yeah.
Wait, that was you?
That was me.
I was thinking you looked so familiar.
Yeah.
I was like, who's that person who kind of looks like me? It was you. That makes all the sense in the world. That was great. I always enjoy having parties at my house. It's my greatest joy ever. Mm-hmm. And here we are. Here we are. I don't have anything funny to say about it.
And Zena, you were also at this party. How are you doing?
Yeah, I think I did see you guys there.
Do you have funny things to say about the party or other things in life?
Oh, I have tons of funny things. I just can't say them on the air.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Save that for off mic. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be funny on the podcast. That's our listeners come here for serious consideration of these films. And because this is Father's Day and it's a special Father's Day edition of Dusty VCR, we are joined by Bob Lynch, our dad.
Hi there.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How has your day been going so far?
Pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did go to Walmart, though, and get that prescription filled. So.
And you just got back from Maine.
Yes.
Yeah.
With your mother.
Yeah.
We spent 3 days up there. Had absolutely marvelous weather and enjoyed our time up there.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I was also at this famous party, and I received a job offer there.
I heard that. That was a good job offer.
Yeah, it was your friend.
I didn't really know actually what
Jonathan?
he was saying. Jonathan, yeah.
Yeah, so somebody asked me, I think Chris asked me what I majored in college, and I said computer science. And Jonathan just overheard, and he was like, oh, and he asked me if I had any experience with network security, and I said, yeah. And then he was like, oh, you should come work for this company. And then he was kind of telling me about the company. But he was talking for a while, and I didn't really say anything. And he's like, and I can tell you're a really smart guy.
I think that's the part that I came into.
Right, I was like, I haven't said anything. I didn't understand. He kept saying, he was like, oh, you just you seem like you really know what you're talking about. And I was like, I don't think I've said anything.
And that was the time when he asked you what you like to do with Python.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris quietly goes, feed it mice. Oh, that was supposed to be in my head. I'm so sorry.
But have you guys had that experience where somebody's very impressed with you for some, not even that the thing you did is not impressive, but they haven't really seen you do the thing that you are good at? I think I am smart and a good programmer, but I don't know what he would be basing that on.
Well, we talk about you all the time, Michael.
That's fair.
We just say, Michael, my very smart and computer programmy brother.
Yeah. It's very programmy.
Yeah, I've had an experience. Sorry, we didn't answer you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we totally didn't.
Just started talking about how smart you are.
I hate that.
I think I've had that experience. I feel like I've had that a little bit at my job currently, where maybe I'll meet with somebody for a few minutes and they'll say that they feel like I'm very good at my job. But that, I guess it's a little different because basically my whole job is just to be a present human being. You don't really need to know, obviously there's skills involved, but it's not always going to be apparent.
Right.
In deciding whether or not you're a good clinician,
right.
You know?
Well,
right.
I think, because your job is so based around interpersonal skills, people can kind of ascertain that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas I don't know how quickly someone could figure out how smart you are, Michael.
I don't.
30 seconds, 3 minutes, yeah.
I don't know. I didn't get it. I
could tell as soon as I met Zena that she would be great at construction.
I thought she was going to be a good programmer. And for all we know, she is. She just hasn't shown anybody.
I saw those muscles and I said, oh, those are some construction and programming muscles.
Well, we worked out at the party last night that Zena...
We did work out at the party, yeah.
We worked out. That's why Zena's so jacked.
50 push-ups. How many did you do?
5. But we worked out that Zena has worked with 2 out of the 4 Lynches and is on her way to work with a 3rd. So I do look forward to hiring and being the 4th and seeing your programming skills.
That's right.
Yeah.
You might be my 4th
The white whale.
Fourth and final Lynch boss.
Well, if you take into account this podcast, she also
works for me.
No, not but with you.
Yeah. The job of this podcast.
We've already made $5 doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
each
$5 each. Yeah.
Shout out to Julie, our sponsor.
That's a freebie for
Julie Roston.
Julie Roston.
Real estate. Buy a house today.
Yeah.
I'm buying one later.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Just right after this recording.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy your neighbor's house.
All right, and so today we are discussing the 1992 movie My Cousin Vinny, starring Joe Pesci and Marisa Tomei. Let's start with Dad. Dad, what did you remember about this movie?
Well, this was probably about the 5th time I've seen the movie, so I remembered quite a bit. I also was a little surprised that there were some things that I'd forgotten. But, of course, it wasn't really a movie I'd seen in my youth.
In your youth?
My youth.
And Zena, how about you? Had you seen this before?
No, I haven't seen it before. I've maybe heard about it, but maybe just from you guys. But I knew it was going to be like a New York lawyer, My Cousin Vinny dude. And that's about all. I didn't know Joe Pesci. I didn't know anything else about it.
And did you watch the trailer before, or did you go straight in?
We did watch the trailer.
Oh,
Rachel and I watched it together. We saw the trailer.
What were your expectations from the trailer?
New York accents.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
I thought it was going to be good.
Yeah.
It was going to be funny, yeah.
And Rachel, what about you?
I didn't have a ton of memories about this movie, although I think I have probably watched it in the past 10 years, although maybe not fully. But the big thing that I remembered from it was, "Are you sure?" "I'm positive."
Yeah, Marisa Tomei has a lot of great quotable lines in this.
Yeah. And then I also remembered that it had something to do with the tuna, and I didn't know exactly what. I forgot that it was a whole miscommunication saga, which is mom's favorite.
Yeah.
Mom loves miscommunication sagas.
Yeah.
That's her favorite thing ever.
Yeah. So I've remembered that there was a miscommunication joke, but I forgot that there was a second one right after that I didn't get as a kid.
I mean, the whole movie is a miscommunication joke. I mean, the premise of the story is a miscommunication.
So there's so let's get into it. They accidentally steal a can of tuna, and then they get arrested in Alabama. Well, first of all,
You haven't said who them was yet.
Oh, the two
Utes.
Two Utes, yeah, the two...
Two Utes.
There's 2 Utes.
The two...
what's his name?
college-
Ralph Macchio and the guy from Friends.
Friends?
Yeah,
Oh.
he's Barry from Friends. He's Rachel's
Barry.
ex-fiancé.
Yeah.
That's
right.
all I know him from. But
Yeah,
they're
he plays
on a road
lot
trip.
of annoying characters, doesn't he?
Yeah. So they accidentally steal a can of tuna, and then they get arrested while they're driving through Alabama. And they think that they got arrested for accidentally stealing a can of tuna, but there's this miscommunication where somebody actually shot the clerk in the store after they accidentally stole the tuna, and they think they're being arrested for the can of tuna, but they're actually being arrested for murder.
Right.
But then there's miscommunication right after that because they think that they're going to get raped in jail. And
One
then,
of them does, yeah.
Yeah, and then Vinny shows up, and he's using all this language that could be interpreted either way. But I definitely didn't understand that as a kid. I didn't understand the joke there. I was just yeah, why is he so scared of his lawyer?
I don't think I understood any of this movie as a kid.
Oh, no?
No, I don't think... I remember this being a movie that you guys all loved, and I was kind of like, I don't know.
I like that, that one part where when the sheriff is questioning him, and he said, "You shot the clerk," and he goes, "I shot the clerk?"
Oh, yeah.
And so they record that and say, okay, he's made a confession.
Right. I mean, I thought the movie starts out so strong. Vinny and...
Wait, do we do the reveal?
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
do
we
our
forgot
reveal.
to do our reveal. Yeah.
What did we all think?
I thought it definitely held up.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I whooped it up at the end.
You whooped it up. And Zena, how about you?
Yeah, I thought it was a good one.
And Dad?
Well, it has always been one of my favorite movies. I guess by the time I watched this just recently, I'd seen it maybe too many times. But still, it's still a very enjoyable movie.
Yeah. As soon as you see Marisa Tomei and Joe Pesci, I love that when they show up in town and...
She's got her little camera.
Yeah. She's like, wonder if they have good Chinese food. And then the guy comes up to him and says, "Oh, you probably got mud in your tires."
Like, mud in the tires? Yeah. You ever heard of mud in the tires?
I also love the way Marisa Tomei's hair and both of their clothing.
Oh, yeah.
The costumes are all amazing.
Yeah.
I love when Marisa Tomei and Joe Pesci are at the cabin and she's like pacing around in her like
the backless,
skin tight backless floral jumpsuit.
Right.
Love that. With high heels.
Right.
So when Vinny first gets to the jail, he gives the
oh yeah,
what's like
warden,
the
jailer,
the jail guy, the jail staffer,
the jail maid.
He gives him a little money,
right?
And I was wondering, is he bribing him, or did he think he was supposed to tip him?
Oh, he thought he was supposed to tip him.
Typical New Yorker.
Yeah.
You want something done, you got to tip.
Yeah.
That was great. I also liked his nickname. Did you catch that one?
Vinny Bag of Donuts?
Vinny Bag of Donuts! That never comes up again in the movie, just that one time.
Right.
Like, what is that supposed to be? He always has a bag of donuts?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling you guys that. Hey, Bobby Bag of Donuts!
So he gets invited to go hunting with the prosecutor. And he's telling Marisa Tomei that he's going to go hunting, and she's shocked.
Oh my god.
And she's like, "What are you going to hunt?" And he's like, "I don't know. He had some bears on his wall, a deer." And she's like, "You're going to shoot a deer?" And then, do you remember the speech
I love that.
Yeah,
that was my favorite part of probably the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always been the highlight of the movie for me every time I saw it.
Yeah. Like, a bullet ripped through your fucking brain. Now I ask you, do you care what kind of pants the motherfucker who shot you was wearing? And it just like all of her like acts and what was she says something. When she's talking about the scene you were talking about where she's stomping on the floor and she's like, "I ain't never getting married."
Yeah.
One of the things I had forgotten, something I liked about the movie since, I grew up being a car guy. And, when they were talking, like the DA was trying to ascertain whether Marisa Tomei really had any expert qualifications.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, what do you set the timing for a 1955 Chevy with a 327 V8?
Uh-huh.
And I kind of forgotten that, but I'm saying, oh, that's wrong. There was no 327 and 55. And then, but she picks up right away. That's a trick question.
I was watching that. And besides Dad, does anybody know what engine timing means?
No,
Absolutely not.
Dad, do you know what it means?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's the position where you set the distributor, so determines
lost already.
when it determines when when the piston goes up and down. When it goes up for the compression cycle, it determines when the spark plug is going to fire.
Oh.
I've heard of spark plugs before.
Yeah.
I've heard of fire.
But then I think, I didn't rewind, but I'm pretty sure actually that Marisa Tomei screwed up her line, because when she finally explained why it was a trick question, said that 55 Chevy has a 264-inch engine, and that's not true. It's 265.
Oh. Mm. You should
be a lawyer.
We should put the movie on trial.
So one of the things I felt like while I was watching it is that the court scene seemed implausible. But then I read online that lawyers think this is actually like one of the most accurate courtroom movies. And they use it to teach certain things in law school. So they use it to teach like discrediting witnesses.
Those stoners at Harvard just watching My Cousin Vinny. Or Yale,
they're like, you see Vinny Bag of Donuts in this scene.
Use the Vinny Bag of Donuts method of witness questioning. Go ahead.
I have something from earlier on,
Oh, yeah.
from when he's talking to the judge about his experience and everything, and he talks about how he's like, the son of Sam You know that guy?
Yeah.
I helped the guy.
The first guy they
caught. I helped, and then they caught the real guy. But with that, I was thinking of. Do you know what I'm gonna say?
No.
I was thinking of when our babysitter said that she couldn't work because she had jury duty on the O.J. Simpson trial. Reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Just as believable.
Right. I'm trying to read my notes. I was like eating something and trying to write with my left hand.
What were you eating?
Chips and salsa.
You couldn't have done the chips and salsa in your left hand?
No. I got I vertical, I wrote.
Identical.
Oh, identical! Yes, that's what I was trying to write. Yeah, I should just show you my notes.
Yeah.
But that's like a Lynch family tradition. Like anytime anybody ever says identical, definitely Mom loved to say identical.
Well, doesn't he do it in the middle? Doesn't he go identical?
No, I don't think so. Do you guys?
Does he do it after identical?
Does he do it the whole way through? Identical!
No, he asked the guy, how do they compare to the tracks found on the defendant's car? He's like, they're identical. Identical.
Okay, so he does it between two identicals.
Between two identicals.
Sandwiches.
Got it.
Identical sandwich.
I knew there was some kind of sandwich going on there. I didn't know what sandwich.
And yeah, so Joe Pesci, he like wins the case by a lot. Like it goes from being really against them, and then like in the last, the judge is like, well, you better win this case in the next 90 minutes. He's like, okay, then I will. And then he's like, proves that it was somebody else's car, and they get found with that car, and they like have the murder weapon. And
well, the other thing that's a little unbelievable is he gets, with no prior arrangement, he gets the marshal to go out and research.
Yeah.
Do his research for him.
Right. And the only explanation is you get the sheriff is like, tell me why. And then you don't see the explanation. And he's like, oh, okay, then yes. But then they drive off and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So
it's a very satisfying story.
It is a very satisfying story.
I liked how quickly Joe Pesci was able to become such a good lawyer.
Yeah. And so I think that leads right into the whoops. Do you want to give your whoops?
Oh, man. How many whoops did I give for... What did we watch?
Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, Kindergarten Cop. What did I give that?
I think you gave it 1 million whoops.
I give this 2 million whoops.
2 million whoops. There's some inflation happening with our whoops.
That's what happens.
I think
over
multiplicity
time.
was actually just 1 whoop. I had remembered it as 2.
I think it was 2.
I think it was actually just 1.
I think we gave it 2.
I don't know. We'll have to go back to the archives.
This is you're scamming.
There was a short-sighted system where it was either whoop or no whoop. So you're saying, what was it, 2 million whoops?
I think 2 million whoops. I had gone back and given multiplicity 2 million whoops. I think it's just as whoop worthy as multiplicity.
Equally whoop
multiplicity is the gold standard.
Gold standard whoops. So we'll always readjust. Anytime we want to give more whoops, we just retroactively adjust multiplicity.
Right. And
Zena, what about you?
I thought it was great. Got 3 solid whoops.
3 solid whoops. Mm-hmm. Ooh, a terrible score.
No, 3 is a good number.
3 is good. And Dad, as you know from previous episodes, there's not really a whoop system. It's just whatever your heart tells you. So it's not out of anything.
Well, I would have to say that I like the idea of comparing it to multiplicity.
Yeah.
Multiplicity, because I do think that they're kind of equivalent in terms of how much I enjoyed them.
Yeah. So you would say about equal to multiplicity?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say I've been sticking with like a 10 whoop system, I think. So I'd say like 8 whoops. I gave it 8 whoops. I love Marisa Tomei in this. I love Joe Pesci in it. But yeah, I loved it, all of it. Any scenes that we didn't talk about or anything about the movie that we liked?
Well, one thing that struck me that you guys probably wouldn't know about or wouldn't care about is, the 2 boys were driving in this, I think it was a 66 Buick Skylark, and that was supposed to be like an old beat-up jalopy, mm-hmm. Whereas today, if you had a 66 Buick Skylark in the condition it was in, it would be worth like $20,000 or $30,000.
That seems pretty low for a vintage car.
Well, it wasn't completely refurbished and so forth. But, one that just didn't have any rust on it and ran, I'm pretty sure it'd be worth 20 or 30.
Oh, like you say 20 or 30,000, like that seems low to me for a vintage. I thought vintage cars were worth a lot more.
Well, they can be, but, it depends on the model, make and model of the car.
Yeah.
Buick Skylark was not, until maybe the last 10 or 15 years, wasn't really considered that collectible worthy.
Uh-huh.
And then Joe Pesci's car, the Cadillac, that was great.
Yeah.
And again, it was supposed to be just whatever he could scrounge together, but today it would be like people would be chasing you down the street trying to buy it.
Michael, did you used to get classic car lessons from Dad?
No. Oh, wait, maybe. I don't know. Did I?
Not like with Rachel. I would sit with her for hours because you wouldn't have put up with it. You would have said, okay, I'm done.
We used to sit and look at magazines, classic car and hot rod magazines. We'd look at them for long periods of time, and Dad would test me. He'd quiz me. What's that one? What's that one? What's that one? And now I don't really remember most of them. I just kind of think that everything's a 32 Ford or a 57 Chevy.
I do remember at one point you told me about the fins, like the distinctive fins on some car, but I don't remember which one.
Well, that would probably be the
57 Chevy.
Oh, yeah.
No, the most distinctive fins in the 50s history would be the 59 Cadillac.
Oh, okay.
That's the height of the fin craze. In the most extreme.
Yeah.
What are fins? I don't even know.
Like the stuff on the
wings
back that are like,
on the sides there, the little wings that poke out.
On the back, that on each side of the trunk, there's like
the rear fenders where the taillights were.
Okay. It's like a decoration.
Yeah, it started in that I think 49 or 48 Cadillac put a little fin on the rear fender, and over the years it kept growing and growing until 1959 was the most extreme yet. And that's probably one of the most valued older cars, a 59 Cadillac, especially if it's a convertible. That kind of represents the height of the excess of the 50s.
Nice.
Are we ready for the game?
Let's do the game.
So in honor of Father's Day, we've got a Father's Day game. Dad will play which one of your children. And so we're going to ask you a which of your children question, and you have to figure out which of your children it's about.
Which of your children, Rachel, Michael, and Xena, it's about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So which one of your children put knots under their pillow to receive money from the knot fairy?
Gee, I don't remember that, but if I were to guess, I'd have to guess Rachel.
Do you know?
I can only guess because you told me it, so I'm assuming you're not telling me Xena facts.
Yeah, that was me. I don't know what happened, but it must have been Mom. I was anxious to get money from the tooth fairy, but my teeth weren't coming out, and so Mom was like, oh, well, there's also the knot fairy. If you put a knot under your pillow, you'll get money. And so I did it, and then there was money the next day, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to put so many knots under my pillow. And then I think Mom realized oh no. And I forget how she got out of it. She made up some rule where the knot fairy, I think the idea was the knot fairy was going to be mad if I was greedy. And so I couldn't put that many knots.
Moral of the story. Don't be greedy.
All right. Who wrote a letter to you asking for a dog?
Again, that sounds like a Rachel thing. I don't remember any letter.
Does it help if we disclose that you then granted them a dog?
Also, you is the parent.
This one's confusing. This is a trick question because it wasn't really you.
Wait, I had another father growing up?
If we phrase it as your parent, then I feel like their parent kind of gives. Well, I guess we could just do that. That was Xena. Xena, what was the story there?
I wrote a letter to my dad asking him if I could get a pet dog. I really wanted to adopt a...
And the request was granted?
The request is granted. I started writing this letter and then I left it on the floor of the living room and ran outside to go play. And it kind of worked to my advantage because my dad was taking a nap on the couch and he found the letter.
Aww.
And so it was really sweet. Yeah, later he came up to me and he was like, Xena, I found the letter you left me. And then I got a dog.
Do you remember what you wrote in the letter?
So it must have been around 5th grade or so, where we were learning a lot about like how to turn your paragraphs into cheeseburgers and like write argumentative, like what would they call them? Convincing, persuasive, like write persuasive paragraphs and stuff.
Sounds like you did really well.
Yeah, so I think I applied my school lessons and probably came up with some really solid reasons, like it would make me happy. You won't even have to walk it.
Was that true? Did you end up taking care of it yourself?
I did take care of it. Actually, me and my dad used to walk the dogs together because we already had a family dog and I wanted a second dog. But then, he ended up walking the dogs a lot. Like both of them without me.
Who got grounded for not answering her phone?
You gave away the pronoun.
Yeah. Their phone.
Well, just let me see. You, Michael?
Maybe I got grounded for not answering her phone as in Rachel's phone.
Stop giving away all the answers, Michael.
Again, I don't recall that.
What was the story?
So I should have added on a little extra context, which I still don't think would have helped, but I should have said, meanwhile, was jumping on a trampoline.
Oh.
I was having a blast. I was just having a blast with my friends, hanging out, jumping on a trampoline. I think I was in 7th grade, and I had just gotten a cell phone for like the first time ever. And Mom was like calling me off the hook, and
blowing up your phone.
She was blowing up my phone. And I didn't know because I was on a trampoline. And then I came out and I saw it. And Mom was all upset. Yeah. And she was like, what happened to you? I thought you were dead. And then I got grounded. And I was so outraged. I was so incredibly outraged because I was just like, why didn't you could have just called. You knew where I was. I was at Dan's house. Dan's hanging out with all my friends, my middle school friends, and
my cool teens.
Just call them. I couldn't have answered the phone. I was on a trampoline.
Yeah.
I don't think I was even like late coming home or anything. She just couldn't get a hold of me for a little while.
Yeah.
Bobby Bag of Donuts, do you remember this?
I don't. And I would know it would have to be Mom because that kind of stuff,
Yeah, I feel like this was like maybe right around the time that like Mom had moved to the Pelham apartment, and so I think probably she had just decided that on her own or something, and I don't know. She probably was like all alone and freaking out and getting all scared and worked up, and yeah.
Did you guys get cell phones at the same time?
No, I
don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember when I got my first cell phone. I think had it in high school.
Did you guys get cell phones before or after your parents?
After.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dad had a very early cell phone. He had a giant Motorola.
Oh yeah, like a big.
It wasn't that big. It wasn't like the '80s cell phone.
Well, it depended on which battery you used.
Because
there was a battery that would last for like an hour, and that was huge.
But I remember like when you first got it, and you'd but calls were super expensive. We could call somebody and be like, "Hi, I'm calling on a cell phone." Okay, bye. But we'd like call people and be like, "Guess where I'm calling from?" Yeah, in my car.
Ooh, did you guys ever do the thing where you tell your parents you're going to your one friend's house and then you go somewhere else way more naughty and then they call your friend's house and catch you?
Oh, I don't think that happened. I just was caught at my dad's apartment with my friends. Letting them sleep in my dad's bed.
Oh, and he was not supposed to be home that night?
He wasn't supposed to be home. I didn't know how early he was going to get home. He got home early in the morning, and I was hungover and very embarrassed.
I had a experience like what you're talking about, where of calling and being at the wrong friend's house, but being kind of on the other side of it. There was a guy in my high school who everybody thought we looked alike and sounded alike, and we thought it'd be really funny. His name was Alex. He was a great, like, you would have never have met him, but he was a grade ahead of me, and everybody thought, like, we were in the same physics class, and everybody was like, oh, you guys are like twins. You sound exactly alike. And we thought it'd be really funny to conference call one of his friends and pretend to be him and see if he could tell the difference. And so his friend's name was Anshul, and so we called up Anshul's house, and it was like a conference call with me and Jeet. So like Jeet was listening on the other line, because that was like the thing to do in high school, is like conference calls where somebody's secretly listening. So we called up Anshul, and I was like, hi, is Anshul there? And his mom was like, no, he's not. Like, can I take him? Like, who's calling? Oh no, she said, who's calling? And I said, it's Alex. And she's like, he said he was at your house. And I was like, oh right, he is.
Oh no.
And I was like, gotta go by. And then I was like, oh, what do we do? Didn't really know. Like, I was like, oh, I'm getting this kid in trouble. And then I talked to him the next day, and he was like, yeah, I couldn't figure out why my mom was so mad. And he was like, she called me up, and she was like, where are you really? Alex just called here. All right. Who met a stripper in Vegas when they were 12?
Well, that would be you, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't remember her as a stripper, but she was a performer.
She was
an exhibition. I don't know what else.
I thought she was like a adult film star.
Oh, maybe she was that.
I'm not sure she was. But, you know, the point was she had enormous boobs.
That was the point.
That was the point. That's the point of the story.
And so Mom suggested, say, can you let us take a picture with the boys? And
That's me and my friend Josh.
And so Josh, who was a little more girl-friendly, I guess. And so he was just like, yeah. And then when they both stood next to her, she took their heads and she jammed them into her boobs.
Oh my gosh.
And Michael was so embarrassed.
Michael's like super red in the picture, looking so embarrassed.
Like in front of my parents.
And Josh just looks so
Yeah,
happy.
Josh was super happy. But they were, I have to find this picture. They were like basketballs. They were like enormous breasts.
That's true. This is true.
Were you there?
We used to hang it on our fridge.
Yeah.
And my friends would come over. They'd be like, "That's Photoshop. Come on."
Yeah.
I was like, "No, that's real. It really happened." I was there. Yeah.
I think it was a convention of exhibitionists.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, it was at Caesar's Palace.
Well, being from New York, I hope you tipped her well.
Yeah. Who in high school was voted most likely to sleep through an earthquake?
Voted by classmates?
Yeah. Voted by the electorate.
I don't know. Could it be you?
No, that one's Xena.
How could you think it was Michael?
He probably slept through all his classes. That was my senior superlative.
Nice.
Yeah. It took me 3 years to pass biology.
Michael, did you ever sleep in class?
Yeah. I don't know about high school. I think I definitely fell asleep in college.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I never like deliberately slept in high school.
Right.
I didn't do it deliberately.
Rachel, did you?
Yeah, I remember having a lot of experiences in high school where I would be sitting there, like, just trying so hard. Like, my eyes just were feeling so heavy, and it was like torturous to try to keep them open. I was just trying.
Torture.
And then I would just think like, oh, and just let them close for one split second, and then like I'd be dead, like totally asleep, and like
drooling on my shoulder
or snoring or something, and like wake up suddenly, and it was so hard.
Were you staying up late?
Probably, yeah.
What were you doing?
Aim chatting. Yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind. Probably aim chatting. Yeah, that's probably what I was doing most of the time.
Yeah.
So I'm a really great sleeper. I can sleep in like a lot of spots.
Yeah.
And I'm especially good at sleeping sitting up. So it makes me a really good sleeper in school.
Yeah.
And in airplanes. And very often on airplanes, I have this experience where I fall asleep. And then, my head's kind of doing the jerky thing or it goes in a funny direction and my mouth is hanging open. Uh-huh. And it's kind of like sometimes you go into this half sleep where I'm like I have some conscious thoughts. Like I'm aware that I'm on a plane sleeping. Uh-huh. Sitting up with my mouth wide open, but like, but I'm asleep at the same time, so I have no control over it. But I know people are walking down the aisle, looking past me, and I'm just one of those people with their mouth hanging wide open. But I just can't, just not,
Yeah.
See, this is like my favorite Xena thing. 'Cause she's telling me about this one time, and she's like, saying how, because she's kind of like semi-conscious of it, she's having this like dialogue with herself in her mind where her mouth, a while, I feel like, Zena, close your mouth. I can't, I'm asleep. I can't close it. Zena, close your mouth. You look like an idiot. I can't.
Thanks for always remembering the punchlines of the jokes, Rachel.
Did you hear me like cracking up just leading up to the punchline that never came?
I like kind of forgot midway, like, why am I saying, like, I know there's like something funny here, but what is it? Rachel's so good at remembering jokes. Without you, like, I don't know what our friendship would be. It would, like, just be a big blank hole in my mind.
You don't know what our friendship would be without me?
I don't know what our friendship would be without you.
I feel the same about you.
Who did improv comedy in high school?
Well, that would be you.
No. Trick
question.
Rachel
Lynch.
I never did improv comedy in high school. Rachel started really early. But we couldn't work out whether she had performed improv comedy. We knew that she did it.
I don't think I did perform because when I was in my first year of college, I tried out for the improv comedy troupe and got in, where another one of my friends who's very funny did not. Ooh. And I felt very proud of myself that I got in.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this is great, so much fun, improv, woohoo. And then they were like, so we're going to have our first performance on such and such a date. And I quit. Because I was so scared of performing in front of people. Yeah. So I feel like with that in mind, I doubt that I would have performed for anyone in high school.
Yeah. But with your improv teammates, you performed.
I think, well, yeah. I mean, I think I took a few acting classes and things like that. And so I performed probably just in front of my class.
Yeah.
So I guess you could count that.
Yeah. Which one of your children tried to build a bomb when they were 14?
Well, that would have to be you.
Yes.
Probably the one that's living in the bunker.
But I remember, because like me and my friends, we would always try to like build these weird explosives, and the way we would make the like explosives was taking model rockets and crushing up the engines, which was probably like really dangerous because they could have ignited and set a big fire. But I had read online how to make a bomb, and I was like, you needed to get these chemicals, and so I got you to take me to some like chemical supply place.
Yeah, I do. I have a vague memory of that. Yeah.
I was trying to figure, because I felt like if I said I want to build a bomb, they weren't going to go for it, and so I was like, I'm building a volcano for school, and they were like, what? And they were confused, and you were like, he wants to build a bomb. And they were like, then no.
Oh my god.
But this was also pre 9/11, so I feel like that wouldn't have worked.
Was it pre Columbine?
Yes.
Oh, I think it actually. Oh, maybe it must have been. Maybe I was younger.
Yeah.
Columbine was 99. Yes, maybe I was a little younger. Yeah, because I remember the thing we were concerned about was the World Trade Center bombing, which was like in 1990, because that was like the most recent terrorist attack that people were thinking of. So like, oh, we don't want people to think we're like gonna buy a bunch of it and put it in a truck. But yeah, they didn't buy the volcanoes excuse.
Do you still make your bombs the same way you did as a kid?
Yeah. Just, that's why I've got 4,000 model rocket engines. Who passed out on shrooms in the kitchen during family night?
Passed out on what?
Shrooms.
Magic mushrooms.
Well, I'm pretty sure it would have to be Xena because I can't imagine.
I was thinking that was going to be Rachel, but now that I think of it, that was around the time I discovered psychedelics. We were having family night at the house, and we were playing this game. I don't know why I thought it was a great idea to take some shrooms casually before hanging out with the fam, but we were all standing around the kitchen table and playing this game. My mom is a therapist, and she came home with some sort of like, kind of like a team building game where we're like passing around this piece of string and making like an interconnected web. And then I'm all on shrooms and there's a web and we're passing around a string. And I just decided to go hang out in my room by myself, and instead I walked into the kitchen and passed out.
And then didn't you get up and then you went to your room and passed out?
Yeah, so then I got up because I realized, this isn't looking so cool right now. Tried to walk to my bedroom, passed out, tripped over a chair. I was like, it's cool, parents. I was just smoking some weed. Don't worry about me.
Just normal teenage stuff.
Yeah.
So that wraps it up. You can find us online.
Wait a second. What? You didn't do Xena's last question.
Xena's last question is, which one of your children is your favorite?
Which one of your children do you love the most?
Oh, do you love the most?
No comment.
I don't know.
What? We can cut it out if it's boring.
Okay. I was gonna suggest, in honor of Father's Day, we could just hear a little bit about Dad, what your expectations of being a father were, and then what surprised you most about becoming a father.
That's an interesting question. I never really thought about it, just
kind of happened.
No, it's. I think you guys already know this, but contrary to custom, I was the one that asked Mom to get married, and
that's typically the custom.
But also, I was the one who suggested we have a kid.
A kid or 2 or 3.
And the thing was, we both agreed when we first got together that we didn't want to get married and we didn't want to have kids. So I was kind of the one that broke that pact in both cases. But I had always liked kids in general. I always enjoyed being around them, and I always liked playing with them and stuff. And so I was pretty sure that it was going to be a good experience, but it turned out to be awful.
You have to be on their podcast.
No, it's it's a pretty common thing that you hear. It's the most the most satisfying part of my life is having you 2 kids.
3.
Well, I'm sorry.
He's always doing that.
He always does that. I don't know why.
Well, Xena came a little later.
Right. She was more of an accident.
You guys discuss, we're thinking about having a 3rd adult child that's 27. So you can find us online at dustyvcr.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Dusty VCR. And Dad, are there things that you want to promote? Should people find your Instagram or Snapchat?
No, I'm not really active on any social media.
You looking for new workers for your house? Should we tell people to contact you?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Since my last daughter just abandoned me, left me to my own devices.
If you're a good contractor or painter or somebody that works on a house in the Western Mass area, let's contact Bob Lynch. He's got a house.
Or reach out to the Dusty VCR.
The Dusty VCR crew. Yeah.
Send us your best muscle pics.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how we're deciding.
We'll put your we'll advertise you on the podcast, and in exchange for fixing up our dad's house.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, that's all. Bye.
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 Bye.